Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a second update for my Pan palette. If you don't know, this year I am panning the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia. So I'm going to share with you the progress that I have over the past month. It's actually been quite a lot less than a month because obviously February is a shorter month, so technically it's been like a February month. But also I'm filming this a little bit early because it's the only chance I will have to film. But I will still talk you through the progress and let you know where I am with this palette today. Before we jump into that though, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I'm going to jump straight into the progress, but first up I'm going to roll the footage of what this palette has looked like over the last 2 months. So both at the introduction as well as the first update. So this is a beautiful palette, and as you can see I already had a little bit of use on this palette. I had a couple of pans when I first rolled it in, and then last update I was able to expand those pans quite a lot, and yeah, I just got some overall use on it. That was my focus for the last month, so that's kind of where the palette stood at the last update. This right here is where I am with this palette today. So hopefully you can see right there what the palette looks like now and all of the changes that has occurred. But of course, I'm going to talk you through them in detail when I speak about each shade. So that was the overview for the palette, but I'm also going to insert here the photos of the palette compared to last month so you can see the comparisons. But let's speak through each shade in order. So first up in the palette, we have the shade Tempera, which is one that I easily can use quite often. It is more of a kind of blending out shade for me. I don't really set my eyelids, so I use this one to clean up my crease if I take my crease color too high, and that's kind of how I've been using it. In the past month, I used this one 16 times, so not the best, but considering again that I haven't had as long between last update and this update, I'm pretty happy with that. So 16 uses on Tempera. Next in the palette, we have the shade Glistening, and unfortunately I wasn't able to use Glistening at all. I just been focusing on the more pinkier tones in this palette in the month of February, so Glistening unfortunately went a little bit neglected, but that's fine. I think this is one that I'm easily going to be able to get through in the warmer months, so I'm not too worried about it. Next to that, we have the shade Orange Soda. I only have 2 uses on this shade, and again, I was focusing on other shades in the palette. I didn't really go for the orangey tones that much, but at least I used the specific shade 2 times. However, we have the 2 kind of pinkier shimmers next, and for both of these shimmers, so Rose Pink and Sultry, I had a usage goal of using these both 10 times each. And that was one of my goals. And when it comes to Rose Pink, I actually was able to use this one 15 times. So I have used it quite a lot. And I don't know if you can see in the pictures, but maybe you can see it here, how much flatter this pan is now. I haven't used expanded pan, I have flattened it out quite a lot as well. So I'm really, really happy with the progress on that shade. So 15 uses on Rose Pink. Moving on to the next shade, we have Sultry, and Sultry is another beautiful shadow, and it's another one that I've been focusing quite a lot. The goal was 10 with this one, but I used it 16 times, so again, really, really happy with that. And similar to Rose Pink, this shade is really flattened out, and I'm expanding the pan quite quickly now because it is so flat. So that is the shade Sultry. For the last 2 shades in the palette right here, I didn't use either of those. We have the shade Bronze and the shade Mulberry, and both of those I didn't use at all. Moving on to the second row, we have the shade Dusty Rose, and this is another one that I had a usage goal of 10 on, and I did actually use this one exactly 10 times. I'm a little bit worried about this shade because even though I use it 10 times, you can barely tell. I mean, in the photos it probably won't look different, and honestly in person I don't really have a dip at all. I do have a little bit of disturbance, but I'm definitely worried about this shade now because it's not moving very quickly. So I need to keep that into consideration when I move forward with this palette, because that one is going to probably take a lot of work to finish. The second shade on the second row, we have Fairy, and similar to Glistening right above it, I wasn't able to use this one, or I choose not to use this one over the past month because I was focusing on other things, and same as Glistening, I'm kind of saving this one for the more months. So not to worry about this shade either, and I didn't use it at all. Then we have the shade Burnt Orange, and I used this one once, so not too much progress on this one. Again, I was sticking with other shades in the palette for the past month, so this one again I got a little bit neglected, but I'm fine with that. For the next shade, we have the shade Sienna, and I had another goal on this one to hit pan on it, and I don't know if you can see in the pictures, hopefully you can, but otherwise, maybe you can see right here that I have the tiniest pan on this one. I could have definitely expanded it, but again, I had my focus elsewhere. and it only took me 2 additional uses to hit pan on it for a total of 13, and I haven't used it since. So 2 uses in total in the past month, which is fine. I did hit my goal of hitting pan, and this is one of my favorite shades in the palette, so again, I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this one in the upcoming months, so that's kind of why I let this one rest a little bit after I hit pan on it. Next to Sienna, we have the shade Rustic, which I also used once, so not too much, but I did use it. Then we have the shade Cypress Umber, which is actually one that I have used quite a bit. I have used this one 11 times, and I can definitely see the disturbance in the pan. I don't really have a specific dip, but I can definitely see like overall that the pan is like dipping down like more evenly rather than like a specific dip. But I did use it 11 times, which is really good for me, especially for a deep brown like that. Then last in the palette, we have the shade Noir, which is the black, and I used this one twice. So this one I can actually start seeing a dip in, which is really, really good. I have used this one 4 times in the duration of the project, and I'm hopefully going to be able to keep that up and keep using it throughout the year. But that is the palette today. Again, here is the overview for you to see. So yeah, let me talk you through both my goals for next month as well as the weight. So let me go through all of that. So I'm actually going to start with the weight of this product. So just to give you a brief kind of introduction to the palette itself, this palette weighed 162.70 grams at the introduction. So that's kind of what my starting point was. And the advertised weight of the palette is 10.36 grams. So that is how much product is supposed to be in here. So I'm calculating from that, judging like if the palette was full, but I know that I already had quite a lot of usage on this one when I first rolled it in, as you could have seen in the introduction footage. But I'm still sticking with that, and hopefully that means that I will be ahead of schedule if I stick with that weight. And judging from that 10.36 grams overall in the palette, I need to reach for 0.86 grams each month in order to hit my goal. So that is my goal, is 0.86 grams per month. In the month of January, I was able to use 0.89 grams, so I was over that monthly average, which I'm really, really happy with. So that is kind of where I was in January. And for the starting weight of end of Jan, beginning of Feb, I had 161.81 grams. So that is my last month's starting weight. And today, this palette weighs 161.32 grams, which means that I have lost 0.49 grams, which means that I am under the goal for this month. But again, February is a shorter month, and I know there's been just like, it hasn't been that long since the last update. It's been 20, as filming was on the 26th, so I guess it's been 26 days since my last update, but I know I filmed that like a day or two in advance, maybe 27 days. Which is still less than a normal month, and somehow I just always feel like my usage in February is less than other months. I don't know why like 2-3 days makes such a huge difference, but it does. So anyway, that is the progress for this month, and the palette again looks like that. So that is all of the weight. That means that I have to step up my usage game in the next coming months and be like over the average in order to catch up, which I'm fine with. So I'm going to talk you through my goals so you can know what I'm hoping to do with this palette in the upcoming 31 days. So again, this is what the palette looks like today. I have one main goal that I want to be able to do next month, and that is actually to finish my first shade. Before I tell you which one, can you guess which one I'm going to try to finish? Okay, so the one I'm trying to finish is this one right here, which is Sultry. I was debating between these two here, but I feel like Tempera I'm going to use anyway as like a everyday, like whenever I need to clean up my look, I'm going to use that one. So I know that one's going to be gone before the end of the year for sure. So the one that I'm going to try to finish deliberately is the shade Sultry. I think I should be able to do that. And hopefully by using that one, I will be able to pair it a lot with Rose Pink as well as Dusty Rose again to get some more use out of those two. So that is going to be my first and like my main goal. For the rest of the palette, I had a little kind of mini goal in my head, which might be really, really difficult, but it was to use all of the mattes in this palette 10 times each. That might be mega difficult considering I am doing lots of other panning projects, but I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to try to use every matte in here 10 times because I just need to catch up with the weight as well as the usage. And the mattes are definitely going to be the hardest ones to finish up in this palette. So that means that the shade Tempera, the shade Orange Soda, mulberry here. We have dusty rose, burnt orange, sienna, rustic, cypress umber, and noir. Was that all right? I hope so. I was going off memory. But all of those shades I need to use 10 times each in the next month, as well as trying to finish sultry. So that's quite a few loftier goals, but I'm fine with that. I think I should be able to do it if I stick to it. Yeah, especially because March is a longer month and I do have a little bit longer to next update because I am perfuming this a little bit. So that is what I'm going to do. I will hopefully get some really good movement. I think Sienna, the pan in there, is going to expand quite a lot in 10 uses. Maybe I can get some really good dips in other shades. Maybe I can hit pan, but I doubt it. Maybe the one that I'm most likely to pan on out of the mattes would be Cypress Umber, but I doubt it. We'll see. So that is going to be my goals for next month, and that is also the update for today. If you're doing a Panda palette, let me know how you're doing down below. Let me know if you have hit your goals for February. Personally, I'm quite happy with the usage in February. Of course, I could have done better, and I wish I would have done a little bit better, at least on the weight. But I did hit all of my goals that I set for myself, so I'm pleased with my progress. And it just means that I need to work a little bit harder in March, which I am hoping to do. So if you did like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And otherwise, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.